Living in a daydream. Ooh, such a sweet thing. Life on the big screen. It's such a beautiful scene, yeah.
Man, birthday month.
Big birthday month.
Our last year in our 20s.
That's insane.
How does it make you feel? So Nate's birthday is on, oh my gosh, February.
There's no way you forgot.
You're on the 10th.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Emma's in February too, isn't she?
Emma's in February?
Emma's in February. I forgot.
Like 8 years
She's
after
like
us.
18th or something like that.
She's like 19 years old.
How does it feel that by the time we're listening to this, I'm 29 years old? You're 29.
Yeah, and the fact that
By
we
the
have
time we listen to
weddings
this.
next year,
I'm
that
gonna
will be
be 30.
34.
Wait, what?
Like we'll be 30 for those weddings. We will
Oh,
be 30,
30 for
comma,
them.
for those weddings. Yeah.
Aged.
How does it make you feel? Because some people really struggle with hitting 30.
I'm actually really stoked about hitting
Same.
30.
I'm not like scared about it.
I feel like we've both.
I'm really proud of where I am at 30.
I feel like we've both aged well for 30.
I still look 20.
I
Maybe
feel like
younger.
we both still look
You look great.
like young lads.
You look good.
You look great too.
You look adultish.
Really?
Emphasis on the ish. Depends on what you wear.
Depends on what we're wearing.
I look 12.
No, I feel like I'm excited for 30s.
Me too.
I feel like I was a late bloomer with college, 20 through 25. I was just kind of like, I loved college. I liked it. But in a way, since I didn't do anything with my degree, I feel like I kind of started at 25.
That's fair.
And so a lot of people in this industry, they might have started at 18. And so they hit their stride when they were at their, 21, 22. 25 was when I was like, okay. And then by, 27, I'm newly married at 25. So there's the first year of marriage, 26, 27, was just kind of like figuring things out. Just starting to feel like hitting stride almost, heading
Which is
into
funny
the 30s.
because if you leave Utah, what you're explaining,
Which is crazy.
people don't
I know.
don't witness that until their mid 30s.
I know, and that's
Yeah.
wild. Like we filmed
Marriage and like job.
inside Utah. If you don't have kids,
Yeah.
at late 20s, you're like, what are you
yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
So no, I feel like I'm hitting strides going into 30. I'm excited for it.
Me too.
Yeah. How do you feel?
I don't know. I feel like it's a long decade.
How so?
I don't know. I just feel like,
I feel you on that, but also the past couple of years have been like, where'd those go?
yeah. I don't know why I feel like when I look at like what happened in my 20s and I think about like, I don't know. I just think about like myself at 20 and how like little I was. I feel like I didn't hit
Dude.
puberty until 2 years ago.
I feel like you've hit 5 puberties. I see your camera roll when you send it from like last year, and I'm like, you look wildly different. And then the year before that's like, you look every
Yeah.
year is a different Jake. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if I see a Jake from 2020, I'm
Well,
like,
I feel
who
like
is that guy?
2023 was the first year I felt like confident about like how I wanted to look. And I felt like I just grew up. I started going to the gym like,
Yeah.
consistently for the first time in 2023 and like actually carrying out my diet. Not good at it, but like I actually started like intentionally trying.
I think when you hit your 30s, you kind of you have to start thinking about those things.
But just like a late bloomer, I feel like I just didn't really like come into my skin until 2 years ago.
I feel like that's kind of the thing. There's different realms, right? There's like financial, there's spiritual, emotional, physical. Some people do like really well in like physical and emotional, but then they're like, man, I don't have money. I got to focus on money in 30s.
Yeah.
Or they'll do really well with money and they're like, I got to focus on this. And it's like, I don't know.
Then Tanner went on his mission
Yeah.
right before he got married, which was
He left right when I
right
got
before
married.
right before you got married. Tanner went on his mission, and I had like my sister came into town, and I had like one of the most insecure, darkest days of my life for some reason.
Around my wedding,
It was right before your wedding.
you were
I
going
was right
through,
before your bridal trip.
you were in a dark
Where I was tired of
headspace.
my haircut, I was tired of my style, I was tired of my weight, I was just tired of everything.
I can't believe, I know.
And my phrase was, "I'm done." That was my phrase.
I think I know the story you're about to tell, and I can't believe it's already been that long.
Yeah. And so when Tanner got off his mission, and Tanner just this last week was like, "You changed the most out of everyone in my life for those 2 years." And then he pulled a picture. He's like, "This is the Jake I knew when I left."
Dude,
Let me
I
show it
see
to you.
Jake Weisler pictures, from just a couple years back, and I'm like,
Tanner,
who?
put this as B-roll because I think it's
and
actually
not in a bad way, but like I'm just like, who is this guy?
Yeah, Tanner, put this as the B-roll because I want it. It needs to be a visual. If I can find it. I'm not going to be able to find it. Oh, here we go. So just a reminder, this was the guy I knew before my mission. This was right before. This was like the guy who went and filmed your bridals.
You're joking.
Yeah, that was that month.
We were best friends back then, and even now, I'm just like, when was that? You know,
Where's my chin?
what's going on with your wallpaper? Why is it?
That was Tanner. So he's
Oh,
a douchebag and he made his wallpaper. Yeah. So yeah.
yeah. No, you've had many looks.
So I'm excited for 30.
Yeah.
Dial it in.
And I'm already starting to get some gray hairs, and I just want to be salt and pepper.
I'm excited for your gray era.
I would love like healthy gray hair. You know, I want to be like
And
with
then
my
Sam's and
grandpa.
Dye's hair gray.
Sam just comes with like a big gray streak.
Oh, now you have gray hair. It's like it's
Wow.
like Michael Scott when Ryan walks with a goatee, and in the next shot Michael has a goatee, and then Ryan shaves, and then Michael's like doing a press conference. Ryan, you shaved? Yeah, I just didn't want to. And then like the next shot,
Man.
Michael shaved.
I freaking
That's
love
Sam.
that episode.
You're Sam's Ryan.
Man, yeah, I do want the short stash, salt and pepper
Gosh,
at some point.
Garrett.
What is he like 35?
I don't know. He's perfect in every freaking way. He saves babies, dogs, and stuff.
Yeah, he does. I would love salt and pepper by some point in my 30s. I think on my right side I'm starting to get a lot.
Can we just talk about Garrett for a second? We're sitting there in New York because we're finishing the film of our New York salad shoot with Garrett and Chelsea. And there was this part when we were hanging out with Garrett and we just like idolized the guy as a creative and also as a man.
Just a good guy.
And we're sitting
Fantastic
there
dude.
and we're like, Garrett King. I was like, man, what a name, King.
Oh man.
I was like, King is a cool ass name.
Wow.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, what's your middle name?
Just curious. What's the middle?
Because yours is Alexander. Mine's Douglas. After my grandpa. And we're like, what's your middle name, Garrett? Hoping it's something stupid. So we have something on him. He's like, Maximus.
We just sat there.
We just sat there. And then Tanner just. We're all just like, screw you, dude.
We're sitting here.
Garrett Maximus King. I'm like, you're a gladiator.
Nathaniel Alexander Tehan and Jacob Douglas Weisler. And we're sitting in the presence of Garrett Maximus King and Chelsea Moon King.
Actual gladiator names.
Like what?
Actual gladiators.
Who are their parents? Give them an award for creating beautiful humans, but giving them beautiful names.
If I am pleasured to have a son, I need to really think about that.
Low-key, though.
Not a cute name for a baby. I need to think like, this is going to be the man.
Amelia James goes hard,
Amelia James is a great name. But for like a boy, I need it to be like, conquer the nations.
Viking
I want to
status.
raise the next dictator. I'm joking.
Which, crazy thing to say. Sorry, Jay.
I want to raise an emperor.
Jay's listening. Along those lines here, we briefly chatted about this. I've been thinking about going by Nathan going into my 30s.
You totally should.
Just leaning into Nathan.
I've only ever called you Nathan, so it wouldn't really change my life at all.
No, but like really just leaning into the Nathan.
You are a Nathan. I think you're so much a Nathan.
It's just like Nate's fun. When you met me, I was a Nate. I was crazy, wide-eyed, crazy hair-looking college kid.
Actual
hopped
hobo.
up on Red Bull in the
Which you can't say anymore. Displaced persons.
You can't say
we'll
hobo.
Say hobo.
You can't say hobo anymore.
They tried to cancel it, but it's all
for
back.
What? Displaced?
It's all back.
That's crazy.
Hobos are back.
But yeah, I've been thinking about leaning into Nathan.
You should. I love Nathan.
Especially like, I'm thinking just like networking events. Hey, Nathan Tehan. It's more of a power name.
But then
Nathan Tehan.
It is. Kenzie's been going by Mackenzie professionally.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jacob? Would you ever go by Jacob?
I don't know. I know too many weird Jacobs.
Jake. I think Jake is a fine enough like.
I've just always been Jake since birth.
Jacob. Jake Weisler.
I do like Jacob. I've always loved my name.
Yeah.
But I think the Jake and Nate show would work because it's syllables. But I think if it was Nathan, I think I would have it be the Jacob and Nathan show.
Jacob and Nathan. That's a good
sounds
point.
Pretty cool.
Jacob and Nathan.
The Jacob and Nathan show.
Yeah, my issue I think I'm starting to have with Nate Tian. I leaned a little too hard into it with my Instagram handle on Nate Tian Film.
Nate Han.
It's just Nate Tian is kind of the T's in there. They blend together. So it's like, is my name Nay or is it Nate?
And I'm surprised how many people think your name is Ahan.
I know, because it's Nate Ahan Film, because I blended the last two letters of Nate and the first two of Tihan. So it's understandable that I think it's Ahan because it's Nate Ahan Film. But it's just a weird Nate Tian. It's like, what's your name?
Nathan Tian.
Nathan is more
sounds
distinguished.
majestic.
More just thinking about that in the 30s.
Yeah. Jacob is just a little too biblical for me.
Jacob is
It's a little biblical. And I'm a Christian, big fan of the Bible, but it's just a little biblical.
Jacob. Yeah.
Because I think of it like Isaiah.
Which I actually like.
Great name. But I just, it's a very biblical name. I think Jake just kind of dampens the blow a little bit.
Yeah. No, I think Jacob's a great power name.
I love Jacob. I probably will go to Jacob now that I'm a father.
Jacob Douglas.
Jake as a dad feels weird.
Yeah.
I don't like my middle name.
Like,
sorry, Grandpa, I never have.
For example, though, like, do you see yourself at 60 being called Jake?
Yeah, actually.
Do you?
Grandpa Jake?
I guess I can see that.
But I don't know. But not Dad Jake.
I don't know.
Father
like,
Jacob is what 60, I want to be called.
Father Jacobs. Yeah, that's nice. At 60, I don't know if I see Nate, you know. Nate's just like, I think Nate is just a younger, just a fun party name, you know, Nate.
Kenzie calls me Jacob.
I call you Jacob.
You call me Jacob. Sam's been calling me Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Jacob. I don't know.
Oh, we'll bookmark that one.
Yeah.
I like
the Jacob and Nathan show sounds pretty cool, though.
Jacob and Nathan goes pretty.
But Jake and Nate also sounds cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Jake and Nate.
Let's hear from our audience.
Yeah. Written by you. Thank you for being here. We actually have one story on here, and I know exactly who it's from because he's been messaging about it, and we've been talking about it, and it is deserving of a wild story. Like, it's crazy. Okay. It's a 3-part story, so it's a long one.
I will just listen and not judge.
Do we want to start with that one? It's a really long one.
How many stories do you have?
It's a 3-part story. Oh,
go for it.
We have like
start with that one, and if we make it to more, we'll do more.
Okay. So we're going to start with a story.
I'd love to clear this backlog.
Yeah, we will. Okay, so this is part 1. I'll try to just tank through this.
I'm listening.
But it is a pretty crazy story.
Should we say who it is? If he revealed his identity?
I don't know. Like, so I've been I know it. I know it's him, but I just don't know if he'd be.
Keep it.
I don't know. He's in the UK. He's.
It's Russell.
No. Oh yeah, this is Russell. Roundabout way to just say Russell Kent Nichols.
He's in the UK. He's top 5 best UK videographers. He's through the lens with us.
Fantastic
but we
website.
Can't say
no, he's a UK photographer, really talented photographer, and he's starting to do more video.
Okay. Philip White.
Sniped it. Okay, so part 1, Jacob. Yeah, Jacob is nice.
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 You guys tell me.
So firstly, let's set the context here. This story comes from a wedding I associate shot early in my career from a videographer who I can only imagine passed on to us because he saw raging red flags early on and he ran. It's worth mentioning.
But he still booked it.
He booked it but gave it to an associate.
Okay.
And this person is the victim of that. Okay. It's worth mentioning I'm from the UK, and this was a UK wedding for any US listeners. To start the story off, a videographer and I were driving up towards the wedding with very little information on who, what, and where we were actually shooting. We drove up to the north of the UK to a city we were told the wedding was in. We checked into the hotel the night before, all fine. We wake up to a text from the videographer that had booked the wedding the next morning apologizing. He had told us the complete wrong city, and we actually needed to drive another 2 hours. Now, I'm not entirely sure if there are certain cities in the U.S. where you just cringe hearing the kind of cities known for high levels of crime, robberies, San Francisco, right?
Anything on the outskirts of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Camden, New Jersey.
Generally just a place you do not feel safe bringing cameras into, but this was one of those cities.
Anything west of I-15 in Utah?
Anything outside of the bubble in Utah? We were told to head straight to the groom prep as that was the primary focus and to ignore the bridal prep. That's kind of weird. Strange, but okay. The location was described as a retro pub with pool tables, and it would be great to capture a gentleman, in quotes, vibe with the groom and groomsmen drinking and hanging out before the wedding. In theory, this sounds like quite a cool shot, but I was so wrong. The retro pub described wasn't quite a retro pub. It was a decaying local pub with locals drinking at 8 a.m. Imagine the looks we got walking into a pub wearing suits and carrying camera gear. The moment we walked into this pub, everyone turned their heads towards us and everything went silent. We asked the guy working at the bar where we could locate the groom as we were here to take photos of him getting ready for the wedding. He told us to head upstairs. Now here's where things get even worse. The only thing I can simply compare this upstairs to is a trap/crack house. That's part one. As we walked out back and up the stairs, we walked past the men's toilets. The videographers, they say toilets and,
They do.
They don't say restroom or bathroom. We walked past the men's toilets. The videographer said, "Wait here 1 second. I just need to go pee." 10 seconds later, the videographer walks out of the gentleman's toilets with his eyes watering and urging, followed by the worst smell I've ever smelled in my entire life. This toilet smelled like someone had literally died in there. As we got closer to the groom's room, we noticed the surroundings got worse and worse. Imagine peeling wallpaper, mold, wet carpet that stunk of alcohol. This is really, I'm just scanning here. This is going to get really weird. As we approach the groom's room, we're greeted by naked children running down the alcohol-soaked hallway, being chased and shouted at by the groom, who was also naked. I'm trying to piece together a scenario where that's okay. What do you want?
Nudity is different in Europe.
Europeans are pretty
It's
lax
way
with that.
different. Continue.
Yeah. Anyway, we have naked children running down the alcohol-soaked hallway, being chased and shouted at by the groom, who was also
Only
naked.
thing worse than a child at a wedding is a naked child at a wedding.
And only thing worse than that is a naked groom at the wedding.
Chasing naked children at weddings.
This could keep going. We stand and wait for him to return. He apologizes and shakes our hand, still naked. I can't quite remember what happened after this, but there were no pictures and videos that could be used. Now, as you can imagine, the rest of the day followed a very similar theme to the peeling wallpaper and toilets. The guests were rude. We had several guests take our cameras and start filming themselves and the other guests drunk. I feel like we could leave at that point. I could continue writing all the details, but I'd be here all day. Now on to the couple photos, in parentheses, F my life. We finally get the couple away from the bar to get some nice photos of them. Bearing in mind, this couple were not romantic or intimate in the slightest and honestly looked like they didn't even want to be there. We did convince them, but only on the groom's terms, that his mates could come and make jokes while they took the pictures. That's weird. Anyway, we walked down to a surprisingly picturesque location by the canal. We had the idea of capturing the bride and groom on this pontoon as the boats went by and try to get them some privacy and away from the groomsmen. They followed, of course, and as we were taking pictures and photo, the groom thought it would be hilarious to show off in front of his friends and pretend to throw the bride into the canal by swinging her, into which the groomsmen joined in. The bride visually starts getting more and more angry at this joke and shouts at the groom, "Get the F off of me. Stop trying to show off in front of your weird effing friends. It's not funny." The groom took offense to what she had said, and it actually got serious, from a terrible joke between him and the groomsmen to the groom actually getting angry and trying to throw his wife into the canal. Luckily, the bride managed to escape his arms before landing into the river in her dress. At this point, the videographer and I had stepped back and put our cameras down, as this has now turned into a full domestic situation. The bride is screaming at the groom, and they're having a full-scale argument. We're shocked, and we're a little worried on how we can actually handle this situation, being quite new in this industry. I remember trying to calm the situation down and getting them to continue their photos as they have paid for us to be here. They finally agreed to have their photos, but wouldn't talk to each other and kept getting pissed off. We left the wedding early. We didn't hear from the bride and groom for the rest of the day or ever again for that matter. I think it's pretty safe to assume they are no longer together. I'm apologizing for the long story, but I just had to share. Where do we start?
I hate those types of guys. I want on the domestic issue.
Mm-hmm.
Not acceptable. Just disgusting. Fool with your boys, but not at the expense of your bride. That's your queen, man.
Yeah, we've had a couple of stories with this. I mean, this is just, well, not to this extent, but it's just so childish, man. Like,
it's so childish.
When you can't separate from your boys
it is not their day.
It is not their.
It's not even your day. I would argue.
I hope when you're getting married, you're separating from them, and you're now putting someone else as a priority. Which, this person obviously. But at the very minimum, for one day, please. Why did they need to come to the portrait
My issue
section?
with her is that she chose that guy. That's my issue with her.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's a dweeb, he's an idiot, whatever. You could shame him. It's like, yeah, but let's talk about her choosing him. She needs to leave that guy.
There is a lot of
We don't know all the
responsibility.
details.
Yeah.
Everyone has bad days, but still.
But when it gets to that level of a full domestic issue and
On
violence,
your wedding day.
and like it sounds like he was actually trying to throw her in the river, like not just like playing around. He was actually trying.
Yeah,
to
at first it was
her
a
in.
joke, and then it was like, no, I'm
No, I'm gonna actually throw you
because you embarrassed me. You dampened my ego in front of my boys.
in front of my boys.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Also,
man.
have better boys. I would never
Sounds
let you
like,
do that to Kayla.
No, that's insane.
If you're like, oh, just throw her in the river, I'd be like, are you insane?
kidding me? This is your wife.
You're stupid.
Yeah.
All of us would laugh at you. We'd throw you in for suggesting it. Sam Down and I would throw you in if you suggested that.
Yeah. Yeah. What? I don't
Have
know,
better
man.
friends.
Have better friends. Be a better person. There's a lot.
And there's kids in that environment. What the heck?
I don't know where the
Naked
naked
kids?
maybe they already. Okay. Maybe this couple already had kids.
Baby.
Maybe those were their kids. I hope they're their kids.
I hope
and
so.
then he wasn't chasing just some random naked children down a hallway. So maybe they had kids a while ago and they've been living together for a long time. And
That's
this
so
is not me trying to like justify behavior or anything, but maybe make sense of it.
It's different when it's your own. You can't really judge someone.
So maybe
as
they've been
harshly.
living together. They have kids, and now they're just barely deciding to get married. And in that time, he's developed some dependency on alcohol, and his demeanor has changed, and he's abusive. And at that point, it's like maybe she just can't really walk out.
True.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it makes it harder.
Makes it hard. Yeah.
Yeah, ew. Hate all of that.
I guess at what point, as a videographer, do you feel like it's your need to like stand in and intervene if something's going down on the wedding?
I would have, and again, they're new. I'm not saying they didn't handle this
Yeah.
right. I think it is awkward to jump in. But I'm at a point where I would have just been very okay saying, hey, she doesn't want to be thrown in. You guys do something fun with the photographer. I'll take the bride and do some solos.
Like split them up.
Just remove her from the situation.
Split them up, yeah.
Because we could easily do that.
Yeah.
Say, hey, she doesn't want to do that. You guys, you're going to go with the photographer, do some groom shots. I'm going to take her and do some solo shots. Just
Yeah.
remove her from the situation. If I saw it get hairy, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I would have done immediately.
Yeah.
Because you can do it without being awkward about it.
Yeah, you can.
But again, if you're new, I don't think year one chick would have done that.
I don't really know what I would have done either. But yeah, I mean, if it is getting into like a full domestic, like, yeah, you got to intervene, and like you're no longer a vendor, you're a person like protecting somebody. Man,
I'd also feel a little bit more empowered knowing it wasn't my wedding. I think I'm not
would
going to
too.
see you guys again. I'm going to stand in here and
yeah. What would you do if you were hired by somebody? They told you, hey, wedding is in Salt Lake City on Saturday, and so you go up there on Friday. By the way, it's actually in Logan. Little past Logan. You got to drive 2 hours to get there. Like, what does that do to your rates? What would you do? Would you say, hey, sir, I can't do it?
no, I was saying, okay, yep, on my way, just adding 2 extra hours to the invoice and gas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's 2 hours you didn't tell me about.
However,
And tell the couple I'm going to be late.
what if it's California? Okay. It's now in Oakland instead of Sausalitos.
Oh, Oakland's bad.
Oakland's
right?
bad.
I think same thing. Like,
Okay. Would you feel like a little disrespected though? Like
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
knew, and now he's actually
maybe, maybe honest mistake.
yeah, maybe. But like, if you really don't feel safe, would you be like, hey, I don't feel safe going there? Is
Yeah.
there any scenario where you're just like, hey, by the way, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have taken this? Or is it your responsibility to be
know.
like, all right, I'm going to do it? Kind of a tricky situation.
Yeah, I think I'd probably back out. It depends. If it's in a contract that says this location, I could easily just say, hey, like, I was told I'm not going to bring my gear into that area.
Yeah,
I'm not going to park my car over there.
right.
Yeah. I don't know.
Man, just a crappy situation all around.
Yeah. Horrible.
That sucks. Yeah, it would take some
Weddings,
solace
man.
knowing that
Weddings are
I
crazy.
was never going to see this couple ever again. And yeah, they're probably not together anymore. I hope she's okay. Jeez.
Oh, gosh. All right. I'll read the next one.
Okay.
Which one should I read? Kind
Pick
of
your poison.
disorganized here.
So that was technically awkward moments, even though that could be a Groomzilla easy.
Maybe the videographers suck one.
Okay, we like those.
All right, videographers suck from a photographer. I love this.
These are great.
Yeah, screw videographers.
Yeah.
I was second shooting a wedding. It was me, the lead photographer, and a husband and a wife videography team. I started my day working with the groom and the husband videographer. I worked with the videographer great as we were considerate of each other's vision and space, capturing the groom getting ready. I head over to the bride's getting ready location after I'm done with the groom, and the wife videographer kicks us out of the bedroom the bride is in to record her reading her vows. We weren't allowed to stand inside the room, even if we didn't move. Weird, but okay. Probably worried about your shutter. For newlywed portraits, we all worked together good, collaborating on pose ideas, but I started getting some annoyed and controlling vibes from the husband videographer. Fast forward to the reception, the wife videographer handles the tripods while the husband is handheld. I always try to not get in the way of everyone's camera when capturing any event. The husband videographer thought otherwise. During the first dance, he stepped in front of the lead photographer's camera multiple times, literally standing in front of her, not a small shoulder or head in the frame. The rest of the night, we go on capturing everything like normal, but the attitude we got from the husband and wife team was so uncomfortable. It felt like we're better than you vibes. They didn't acknowledge us when we said bye to them at the end of the night either. Ew, petty. Say goodbye.
Every vendor I think of that didn't say bye to us at the end of the wedding, I always kind of have like the same feelings towards
I do
them.
too.
Just like, yeah, didn't
Especially
like
in
you.
retrospect. Yeah, so a couple things. I think the only thing I would justify is the vows.
Because they're afraid of the flash.
Flash, audio, the whole point of that moment is to capture audio for
yeah.
the story.
Yeah.
And you don't need to take photos of it. It can happen right after they're done or right before.
Just fake it.
So I think it's their job, though, to you to say, hey, I need the audio to be clear and crisp. No shutter, nothing. Maybe the camera's whatever. I'll knock when you can come in, you know? I think you can. So it's on them to not communicate that nicely. Not justifying, I'm just saying that's why.
Yeah.
But they still could have done a better job at handling it. Everything else is weird.
Yeah.
I'm just overly courteous to photographers, I think. I think I always make sure I'm never stepping in front of a photographer shot.
And we're also very pro photographer. Most times, like when videographers are complaining about photographers, it's actually the videographer's problem because they just don't know how to work and be professional. And this sounds like that case.
Yeah.
The videographer team just, for whatever reason, has a vendetta thinking, yeah, the world's out to get us. We're at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
We're just videographers who get trampled on. It's like, not today. It's
Yeah.
like, no. You got to be a team player and work with the photographers, not against them. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
But again, we say this all the time, but like, you got to make sure you're able to do your job regardless of other vendors.
Yeah.
And so if you need that shot and the bride is paying you to get that shot of the vows and she wants it to be captured in real time as she's crying and you can't fake that after,
Yeah.
it's your job to get the shot.
I mean,
maybe you have to get a silent shutter camera.
Yeah, we recently actually had a wedding where we worked with a photographer who, great person, but their style was completely different than what we're used to working with, and they had a massive softbox, and they were trying to put it on the dance floor, and it was in the background of all the dancing and the first look, like all that stuff. Not the first look, but just cake cutting. And we had to make some adjustments. We had to just kind of suck it up and say, okay, we're going to shoot this way so it's not in the shot. It wasn't our favorite angle, and we had to speak up and we had to get someone to say something because the planner wasn't having it either. And the planner was actually like, hey, we need to move that. And he got all bitter. And,
Yeah, I wasn't going to tell him how to do his job because it's his job, not mine.
and we were still getting our shots.
But if it's the planner to say, hey, if you're ruining, and they'd tell us with our lights too, if you're ruining the vibes we're trying to curate for this wedding, it needs to
We
stop.
gotta move it.
You got to adapt.
And so, yeah, I got moved and things worked well. So, like, something has to be said. There is some conversation that needs to be had.
I agree. Yeah,
But-
tough scenario though.
No chill. Yeah.
I say just don't take it to heart. Focus on you and just enjoy your process and
as
just
long as you're getting your shots.
get your job done.
Yep.
And don't worry about other vendors because everyone's going to ruin it. But I do think they could have been more of a pleasure to work with.
On this topic, what is the protocol for when you end the night? Do you say bye to the other vendors? Do you hug?
I
do you
try to.
handshake? What do you do?
It just depends on if I've really enjoyed working with them.
Yeah.
Like if it's, I always seek out the planner. And if I really enjoy the photographer, I will seek them out.
And I think that's the issue too, is because like looking back at vendors who didn't say bye to us, I have my opinions of them. Like, yeah, I don't really like them.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because when we don't like working with someone, we just dip.
We do.
So it's kind of saying something to a vendor when you don't say bye to them. It's like, I didn't
especially if
care
you
to
work with them every step of the way all
yeah,
day.
and it kind of just is saying I didn't care for you at all. I didn't like working with you.
I agree.
Is it a hug or a handshake, or is it just playing the field?
I know you like to hug girls.
No, this goes back to like episode 2 of this show.
Needs a hugger. I'll handshake. Keep it professional. Keep the space.
No.
Nate, bring it in. Bring it in, girlies.
Come here, sister. Come on.
No, I kind of see what they do.
I do too.
I think there's like a happy in between. Like you kind of like start to move towards them, and if they kind of embrace, I'm like,
so
all right,
great.
sure.
Yeah.
And I'm also like, I think I get it from my dad. Are you a hugger?
Yeah.
He just asks, are you a hugger?
Yeah.
Because if I don't want to be like going for a handshake and feel cold if they're about to hug me.
Right.
That feels
Right.
even worse than like just being a hugger guy.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just like, you hugging?
And sometimes it's not even a question. Like sometimes you just vibe with someone so much. And like, do you remember
So nice to work with you.
Seattle, Mackenzie and Spencer with Danae and Rebecca?
Yeah.
And we were just like talking for an hour.
We stayed like an hour and a half after the wedding,
eating
just hanging out.
burgers
Yeah.
and fries, and there was like, see you later. You know.
I love them.
But if it's more of a professional thing, err on the
I
side
feel
of
like
the
you can kind
handshake.
of tell.
Yeah,
I
you
usually handshake's always the go-to for
Yeah,
me.
you can usually tell.
Yeah,
Yeah, you just want to avoid the awkward. Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh.
I agree.
I'm not a hugger though.
You love to hug some girls, right, Kayla?
No, we've talked about this.
Joke.
Episode
I'm
2, the
joking.
kitchen.
Nate's perfectly chivalrous.
All right, which one? You just did the videographer suck?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do strange requests at the bottom. So this is a strange request from a videographer. At the reception, the bride's daughter's friend was wasted. She stumbles over to me because I have a camera, and she asked me to take her and her friend's picture. I told her I would love to, but maybe you can get a better one with the photographer. She then cusses me out and says, "Take my effing picture." I tell her with a smile. Wait, take my effing picture. I tell her with a smile. I'm doing video, not photos. And then she says, well, just act like you are taking the picture. So I act like I'm taking the picture, and she is so happy after I act like I'm taking the picture that she literally tries to jump in every video clip. She harassed me the rest of the night and was being a little bit too friendly. I'm married and I'm faithful, but it was mad weird. So it's a guy, videographer.
Take my effing picture.
Take my effing picture.
I mean, take the picture, bro.
Yeah. I was about to ask you, when people ask you for a picture, what do you do?
I just stand there. I don't say anything. I'm like, yeah, just smile. And I actually do. I will hit record sometimes and do a push in if I'm like, yeah, you're cute people. So if they're relevant people, not just like distant cousins who just are lucky to be there. I'll record, but most of the time I'm just like, hey, smile, great.
Am I the odd one out? Sometimes I actually do take a picture.
On your FX3?
Yeah.
Oh, I never do.
I mean, most
I never have done that in my life.
very, very, very seldom.
I still use the C70 excuse. Oh, my camera doesn't take pictures.
Yeah.
I say that about my FX3.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you're not taking the picture, you're on a gimbal, someone in that crowd knows.
Right.
They're like, you're asking the videographer to do this.
Yeah.
And I love watching that guy because they're just like,
Yeah. Yeah. The first one is, this camera doesn't even take, a picture. I can't do it. But our cameras do. And if someone knows that that's a Sony, like, yeah, it does. Take a picture.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Or if it's like, if I'm close to a photographer, I'll say, yeah, absolutely. And I'll just,
Do photographers hate that though? Do you think they
it's
get
their
annoyed?
job. I think that's literally their job. They're there to capture people at a wedding.
It is pretty funny though. Like if we're vibing with a photographer, be like, hey, come here.
Back to work. Put your drink down.
They want a picture.
One of my favorite parts of the Fontainebleau was a guest asked me to take their picture on their phone, and it morphed into probably a 45-minute thing of me with Jay. Jay was holding my camera gear while I stood at the blue carpet sign out front of the theater, the Live Theater. I stood there before the paparazzi showed up, and I just took pictures of all these famous people.
On someone's phone?
They would hand me their phones. There was a line. They'd hand me their phones, and I would take their picture from the Fontainebleau sign.
I did not know that.
It wasn't my job. I wasn't supposed to be doing it, but a guest asked me, and then a line formed, and I just stayed there, and I did it with a smile. Lindsay walked up and loved it.
Any famous people?
No, not
Just
like
guests. Just
what? Who's that big football guy? He's in a movie coming out soon. Tanner knows him. Big guy, long dreads. He was there. That was the only one I knew.
Go dreads.
The rest was like rich people. But yeah, they just formed a line, and
That's
it
cool.
wasn't my job. Wasn't supposed to be there.
You just took
And then
iPhone
I
pictures.
just started taking pictures and being very pleasurable to people. Pleasurable. Yeah, for like 45 minutes.
Any Samsungs in the crowd?
Maybe one. I don't think so, though. A lot of iPhones. Screw you.
Oddly enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Samsung.
So I think
post
that was like an
got
example.
heat.
Like I put my camera down,
Yeah. Read the room.
and I would argue one of my favorite hours of the week. I had such a good time. I just loved just being personable, and
yeah.
of course, my pleasure. Like I just
You are a
loved it.
people person.
I
Though. You
loved
like
it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
And then the paparazzi showed up,
Getty.
the Getty guy, and they were pissed. Like, what the fuck's happening here?
I did.
They were so
not.
unprofessional. Like they're like, this is not what we're supposed to be doing
I
here.
hated the Getty
Because
crowd.
I was undermining their credibility by being
Man.
the guy gotta stop saying pleasuring, being a pleasure with the guests. They didn't like that. That's not what they do.
Ever since working specifically and exclusively with Getty, does it change how you feel every single time you see a picture that has the Getty Images watermark now?
I hate it.
I see it and I'm like, man, I know exactly the guys that
I
took this.
think paparazzi people
Dude, how is it legal?
are evil,
How is it legal?
especially in the UK. It's like worse in the UK because
Really?
there's less rights or something. Yeah.
Well, I just don't get how it's legal. Like, I get actually mad when I watch something. Like, I don't even remember what
Every
I
time
was watching.
Bieber walks out of a building, I'm like,
Oh.
poor guy.
Dude, like, I remember seeing something about, like, Kanye West and, like, love him or hate him, whatever. I just remember seeing this video of him. He's just walking around. He's just bombarded.
Do you support Kanye's political
I
ideologies?
don't keep up too much with Kanye's political. I try not to base my political beliefs.
Separate the art from the artist, huh? Yeah.
No, he's doing something different every day, it seems
Yes.
like.
Anyway, but yeah,
How is paparazzi
I
legal?
truly feel bad for celebrities when I see them walking out. I see that clip with Tobey Maguire trying to get home.
And you just start screaming. Yeah.
Justified.
I
Or
support
Tom
that.
Hanks. You see Tom Hanks?
Uh-uh.
A paparazzi guy like didn't know that the woman next to Tom Hanks was his wife, Tom Hanks' wife.
Oh, no.
And he was trying to get in front to get an angle, and he like pushed past her.
Oh.
Like pushed her.
Oh,
Like
throwing hands.
And Hanks lost it.
Rightfully so.
He lost it.
Rightfully
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I mean, you see some clips and you're like, what's the line between just abuse? Because like
It is-
sometimes they're
I
like
think it's
right there.
abuse.
I think it is too.
I think the whole free speech thing is but I'm like public space, like yeah, whatever. I get you have to like there can't be a line, but I'm like yeah, but there still needs to be a better regulation on these
There needs
paparazzi
to
people.
be. It's wild.
And it pretty much killed Britney Spears.
Yeah.
It ruined Britney Spears.
Oh, because like they get the worst pictures, and then the headlines, when you combine like them trying to make someone look bad with headlines that try to make it's just
Yeah.
a perfect
I
story.
love Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. They're married, right?
Are they?
I think they are.
Did they get married after doing that movie
Married
together?
a long time ago.
What movie was that? They did together. Not Friends with Benefits. That was Justin Timberlake, wasn't it? Or was that Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis?
Yeah, they met. They met on the '70s show. They have 2 children together. Anyway, there's this funny clip of them in the car. They're reading a tabloid. Ashton and Mila getting divorced and all the time.
They're
And like,
showing each other.
did you know this? Wow, I had no idea. We're getting a divorce. It's so funny. It's just all lies. It's just
Yeah.
peddled lies.
I hate paparazzi, man.
Evil.
I think that's one thing I hated about working at Fontainebleau is
Yeah.
people saw us as paparazzi.
I did not like being associated with that.
I did
crowd.
not like feeling like I was paparazzi. I'm like, no, I'm just
I'm
doing
on the content team.
yeah, content. We're doing social media.
I'll
we're,
direct
we're,
you.
We're the cool guys.
I'm a
Come
good guy
on.
to work with.
Yeah, I didn't like being associated with in people's minds as they're the paparazzi.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, you take your pick.
All right, I'm gonna read the Wedding X one from Videographer.
Okay.
So I saw an Office reference. I'm not sure what it is. We are our first year of filming weddings and saying yes to all of our inquiries. This couple seemed great. She was a single mom, and he was the guy who stepped up to raise her daughter. So she's marrying a guy, her baby's stepdad. They were also expecting another baby together. The day of the wedding started off great with the bride and her girls, but when we went to check in with the guys, things started to go downhill. We knocked on the door and heard a come in, so we did. It was like that moment from The Office where Michael tells Pam to come in, except a room full of naked men. And all of them were very clearly hungover, and their suite looked like a scene from The Hangover. We asked if we should come back, but they said just needed a minute, so we started to film some of the details in another room. We could hear people violently and loudly throwing up and kept wondering what we got ourselves
That's
into.
crazy.
Soon enough, they were all dressed after the best man shaved the groom's head and back.
Oh.
Oh, head and
Head.
back.
shaved the groom's head
and back.
somehow.
Has a big night ahead of him. Has to wax that thing.
For some reason, the back has to be.
Yeah. Fast forward to just before the ceremony. We're putting a mic on the groom, and I put the mic pack on the inside back of his pants, and he says to me, "You can put your hands all the way down my pants. I would like that." I was in shock and didn't say anything, so he followed up with, "No one has to know." The rest of the day was just us trying to get through the wedding. After the ceremony, the groomsmen started doing cocaine and making out with each other, and the bride started throwing up from being pregnant. And then the lewd comments from the men continued, with them asking us if we were strippers and we could strip for them. We ended up leaving the wedding an hour before we were supposed to, after confirming to the bride we have everything we needed, and now have a clause in our contract that allows us to leave if these types of situations arise again. We are also much more picky with couples we work with, and any red flags we're out. And hopefully have some sexual harassment clauses.
Hopefully that was added.
Goodness. Yeah, absolutely. After that first encounter, I would have left.
We read a story very similar to this a while ago. I remember
this. I think this is way more perverse.
But it's...
You're telling the story where the guy ended up making out with the person?
No. We read another story where they were putting a mic pack on the groom, and he said, "You can put your hand all the way down my pants."
I don't remember that story.
I don't remember that story. Maybe I already read this or something.
Okay.
Because that rung a bell, and my first thought was like, is that a thing with female videographers when they're putting them? If that's a thing,
also,
I'm very sorry.
Yeah. So yeah.
Ew.
I would have left there.
Oh yeah, I'm gone.
Or avoided him the rest of the day. I'm not filming you.
I mean, it's just like...
But also...
That's just so out of pocket.
I think if you're a female videographer, this is good. If you're a female videographer, I would highly recommend not miking a groom that way.
Oh yeah. We don't mic a bride.
You just don't know the type of groom you're going to get. I would suggest putting the mic in his suit coat.
Beforehand.
Yeah. Or using have you seen those new Lark mics?
Yeah.
Get some of those, or the Insta mics.
Yeah.
And just deal with a wireless system that can clip on their lapel and not have to touch them or put mics anywhere in their clothing.
I would say a suit coat is usually easy enough that you could mic beforehand. You could just, clip it to the inside, and then even the bottom suit coat pocket.
Yep.
We don't clip onto the back of the pants a lot.
Only if
it's creating a bulge.
There's no pocket in or he's not wearing a suit coat.
Yeah. But if that's a thing, that's terrible.
Ask the groomsman to put it on. Say, hey, this needs to clip on the back of his pants.
Learning moment for sure. Now, this is probably not like...
I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm just so sick by that. I just think
avoid
that at all costs.
I'm trying to think of it like from another angle. Like if we were miking a bride and a bride said something like that, I'd be like, no. But that's why we don't do it. It's just like... You have the maid of honor
and the photographer do it.
Yeah, someone else. Like we're not going up the dress.
I put it on the dress before she puts on the dress, and I say, and this needs to plug in, thigh strap, maid of honor.
You make it as easy as possible. Yeah, Jake undoes his pants.
Yeah. Hold on.
Jake commits the harassment.
Let me show you how this is done.
No, remove that. Yeah, put some sort of...
So sorry. Can we also talk about...
I was about to say, I think we're about to talk about the same thing.
The boys making out with the boys?
I was about to say, I think we skipped over that a little too fast.
I mean, that's what we did at your wedding.
True.
I'm joking. Crazy. Interesting detail there.
Yeah.
That was definitely undermined.
Really got slipped right into the sentence. They started doing cocaine and making out with each other, but also she was throwing it. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Does cocaine influence your sexual behaviors?
We really should just try it one day, just so we can have just so we can say we have, and just say we are valid opinions on this topic.
We talk about cocaine a lot,
more than weddings on this podcast.
Yeah, we do talk about cocaine a lot, and we still don't have any conclusive evidence from real life experience.
Oh my gosh!
However, it was kind of crazy for you to say that after I asked if it changes your sexual behaviors. Yeah, we should try.
We should try it on this podcast. Just us. See what happens.
See right here. Just put it on that table.
Have you seen the clip of the basement yard? I don't think there's anything wrong with 2 men kissing. I'll kiss you right now. Please ask me.
You
I
do
think
it
that's
once.
how we all
why not?
feel about Nate and our friend group.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that definitely got skipped over. The cocaine and mate. Okay.
Interesting.
Lots of red flags. Definitely
Horrible.
saying no to that in the future. Okay, let's see.
Let's just power through these next.
Okay,
The top
I'm trying to.
4.
Okay, top one is the. Okay, this is an awkward moment from a videographer. Okay, this was my very first wedding. This is always good. Very first wedding. I'm filming for a company. Oh man, double whammy.
Gosh.
This is my very first wedding. I'm filming for a company. I didn't know what a gimbal was. As the couple recessed out of the ceremony aisle, I had my camera on a tripod and I was holding it like a gimbal. I picked the feet off the ground and walked back with it out of the aisle. Needless to say, footage was very shaky. I bought a gimbal soon after. A
Bless your
mistake you
heart.
make once. A
First
mistake
wedding.
you make
Oh,
once.
bless your heart.
At that point, it's just more stable to carry it handheld than the legs.
Or just go to the end of the aisle and zoom in.
Yeah.
Keep your tripod. Don't
Yep.
move. All right. Another dropping the ball story. I'm filming this wedding and getting ready was so easy. Then comes the ceremony. It's a church ceremony and it's a Christian wedding. Unfortunately, the church doesn't have XLR or 1/4 inch outputs to connect my Zoom audio recorder to, so I have to rely on the mic on the priest and the groom. I had my TX660 on me and was just about to record. As I was putting the priest, it says storage full. Unable to check if I had moved the files off the recorder, I overwrite the recorder and say goodbye to the audio. Thankfully, I had moved everything, but the moment of panic was something else. Whew. Stressful.
Yeah, that is stressful.
I probably would have done the exact same thing.
Luckily with audio, I feel
I
like...
trust that I always dump things.
Yeah, luckily with audio, I feel like it's... Yeah. I don't know.
Scary, though.
It is
Especially
scary.
TX660. That thing is like a terabyte, I
Yeah,
feel
that's
like.
you filmed a lot of audio. Okay, next one is this is new.
A best man.
This is from a best man music editor.
Interesting.
Never had that before.
Okay.
Bender Nightmare, short and sweet. Very curious. I had edited some mixes of music for my best friend's wedding. It was the bride's cousin, but he was terrible. He messed up the bride's procession song twice and didn't play any of the music the bride and the groom requested that I made for them.
A DJ with an agenda.
Yep.
Nothing worse.
So he made it. Imagine putting all your effort in, and then it's just
Yeah.
like,
I want to do my thing.
thanks.
Yeah. That's tough.
Especially when it was asked for by the couple.
That's tough. All right, awkward moment. I want to preface this by saying that, of course, it's not the DJ's responsibility to take care of my equipment, but I'm still kind of pissed at him.
They do. We would bring that up.
This was my first wedding of the season. Finally putting my new Tascam DR40X to use. Is that the field recorder?
Yeah. No, I think that's the one that plugs into the mic.
No, that's the... Maybe it is. All right. The ceremony is oceanside, gorgeous, grassy clamshell. Whatever that means. And the DJ has a small sound system up in the back right by a public sidewalk. I introduce myself, ask if I can connect audio. Yeah, no problem. Quick sound check. Good to go. I mic up the groom and officiant, and the ceremony goes great. After we do a couple quick shots with the bride and groom and family, I look up and the DJ is gone. I check with the coordinator. The same DJ is going to be at the reception, right? Yes, same one. Cool. Quick session with the bride and groom, quick cocktail hour shots, go inside venue to check with DJ, all good. He's ready to do a sound check, and I'm waiting for him to pull out my recorder cable, and there's a long, awkward pause where I realize he's waiting for me to do the same. I assumed he had packed it with his stuff. He told me he left it in the grass right next to the public sidewalk. I've DJ'd 20 weddings here, and that's what we always do. Okay, but a heads up would have been nice, bro. Ran back to the ceremony site. I have embarrassingly out of breath POV footage of this. Asked everyone I could. No sign of it. Thankfully, the audio from the lav mics was perfect, and I was able to use backup recorders for the reception. DJ apologized profusely and was kind enough to offer to record the toasts on his soundboard and send them to me later. He never did. Never assuming anything like that again. Good. Never trust a DJ.
Yeah. Don't trust your gear with other people.
No. But a heads up would have been nice.
A heads
but
up,
also,
I agree.
if a DJ submitted the story,
Right.
the photographer left his gear, so I left it in the grass, I would have slammed this DJ.
Right.
And said the courteous, professional thing to do is bring it with you.
It's this big, you know.
If I'm walking out of a room and the photographer left something, I'm going to bring it with me
Yeah.
and say,
100%.
here's the photographer.
Hey, by the way, here you go. Especially not leaving it on a public
So
sidewalk.
yes, I fault the DJ. I think, yeah, you might have been careless, but I still he willingly chose to leave it in the grass.
He's done it there so many times, but this videographer hadn't
Not an
been there, so it's
excuse.
like that's not an excuse.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, good teaching lesson. You never trust people with your gear.
No.
I think that's
it.
all of them, and that's good because we only got a couple minutes left on these cards anyway.
It's the whole ball of wax.
And now we have a fresh new form that doesn't have the typo of weather in it.
And when I went to go look at our form, there was another typo.
Was there?
I don't know when this happened, but the paragraph was duplicated, so it said the exact same thing twice.
Did it really? So all this time, when we've been grilling people about Oxford commas,
We're idiots. Now it's nice and updated,
we've had a duplicated.
so you can submit your stories below.
Okay.
Yeah. Great episode. Great takes. Great submissions. The world's a crazy place.
It is a crazy place out there.
You guys need to stop drinking and doing cocaine at the same time. It's going to kill you.
You stay classy.
Try our way. A nice crisp water and some snacky snacks.
I actually could talk a lot about that. The club soda with lime,
That's true.
a little cherry.
Yeah. Me and Joseph Samuels with Marciano cherries. Yeah. And a Coke. I miss my Coke.
Coca-Cola.
No.
Right?
Coca-Cola.
Right, Jake?
With that, everyone enjoying the show. Thank you so much for
We
watching.
will see you next week.